Unions oppose new university funding model and the housing levy. Of course, that is what is on this particular paper here. University unions yesterday termed the new funding formula for higher education as discriminative, punitive, and non-rewarding to hard-working students. The union said that the funding formula would strain many parents and turn universities into clubs for a few privileged students. They say the move is a clever way of reintroducing the unsuccessful merger of public universities. Unions fear it will contribute to low intake, high dropout rates, and deplorable living conditions for students. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a story that is making headlines today, and it is what sets pace to our next conversation this fine Wednesday morning. University funding. Remember, the government announced a new funding system for universities, and that the new system will fund vulnerable and extremely needy students, providing them with scholarships, you get that, loans, and bursaries. Ladies and gentlemen, to help us in this conversation, even as talk about university funding and matters concerning HELB, highlighting some of the challenges faced, I am joined to my far right by Kingorin Degwa. He is the lending manager for the High Education Loans Board. And next to me, I am with Geoffrey Monari, the CEO at University Funding. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And of course, first things first, even as we talk about matters concerning university funding, I want to start with you, Geoffrey, because here we are looking at what has made headlines today. You've heard that story, and there are those that are opposing that particular move. Will this move by government solve the current financial crisis that are inflicting institutions of learning?
Thank you very much for having me this morning. The new funding model, if I can explain so that to give a background,
all right,
has got 4 components. That is, the government will be funding students, the most vulnerable, at 82% of their cost of the program, on scholarship, and 18% on loan. And then the second group will be the extremely needy, where the government will be funding students at 70% scholarship and 30% loan. And these 2 groups, the students will not pay anything. Therefore, this means that for the first time in this country, the most vulnerable and extremely needy students will go to university without removing any money from their pocket, but fully financed by the national government through scholarships and loans. Then we have 2 other groups, that is the less needy and the needy, who will be given scholarships and loans at various percentages. That is the less needy, the needy will be given scholarships at 53% and loans at 40%. And the less needy will be given a scholarship of 38% and a loan of 55%. And will only pay for each of the groups 7%. If you look at the actual costs or the amount that they will pay, their students will pay 10,000 per year. That is, in 2 semesters, they'll be required to pay 5,000 approximately.
And remember, still, there are those that might not be able to afford that. And we will come to that.
Yeah, we will come to that. Yes. But remember, currently they are expected to pay 16,000. So it means the government has reduced that amount. Not forgetting that they will still qualify for upkeep from the Higher Education Loans Board. All right. For their daily sustenance in terms of upkeep, to pay for their accommodation, ranging from 26,000 to 60,000. So it means that what the government has done is to give more support to the universities. The government is putting in 20.3 billion extra this coming financial year for these students. This means that the current crisis in the universities, the question you asked me, will be reduced. We have got debts of up to 60 billion, and if you see the government puts in 20 billion in this financial year, and moving forward there will be more money pumped into the sector, it means the situation will start to improve.
All right. I love that elaborate answer. You're saying it will improve.
Yes.
It means it might not solve everything all at once, but things will be better.
Yes, definitely. It's not a situation where you solve everything at one go, but we are going to start improving, and it will take some time. That is the truth. It may take about 3-4 years for the situation to improve in the universities. However, for the students, the situation will improve immediately, because we are giving them more funds to be able to ensure that the quality of education in the country improves moving forward, because the facilities that will be provided by the national government will have been increased by 20 billion.
Let me look at what you said, and I will come to you in regards to this, because I'm interested in finding out the procedure that is there.
Okay.
All right. But let me come to you, King Ori. Help has been a subject of conversation. Yes, we are looking at this new funding for universities, but is it possible to sustain it? You mentioned that we may see the ripple effects of this in the next, you say 4 years to come.
Yes.
Now, 2 months ago, 140,000 students in public universities and TVET institutions missed their loans that they applied after help ran out of cash. I'm looking at sustainability. Will it work? Help ran out of cash 2 months ago. Help me understand this mathematics. Will it work?
Thank you for this invite. And just to go to your question about sustainability, I think the government is quite committed on this, and the president himself has been pushing for this, and that's the reason why the gap we have, the 140 you are talking about, that's the challenge we are trying to solve by bringing in more money, and also making sure that finance is not a barrier to education. Because you see, these 140,000, we do not know where they are, some of them. We know some are struggling, some the institutions are holding them. They are not charging them fees, they are telling them, we are going to wait to see whether the government is going to bring in some money. So we are solving a problem, and what we are looking, like what Jeff has said, the 29% of the students, the needy and the vulnerable, they are going in without paying anything. Even the charges, the extra charges, there's like computer fee, ID card, medical, all of it is put in this scholarship and the loan. And you look at what the unions are saying about students. If you have all the needy students covered, and we are talking about orphans, we are talking about students from marginalized areas, we are talking about students whose parents right now are getting cash transfers because of either they are old or they are in those marginalized areas where the drought is really affecting them. So if those students are covered, and they are covered, and if you look at the amount of government contribution, 82% scholarship. I don't think, maybe I think the union, we need to give them more information. I think we have a plan of how we are going to sensitize them after this, so that we are at par. But I think this is something very good for the students, and this could be the reason why the student community is silent. They have been talking to us, and we have shown them how it's going to affect them. So it is sustainable from a perspective of the government want to support it, and also help is going to enhance the loan recovery mechanisms. We have plans to really look for the hard costs. We have quite a number of guys who are not paying, and we have a Marshall plan happening in the current month or next month, where we are going to smoke them out. So
and we will come to the aspect of defaulters in a few. Still, looking at the numbers, and of course now I want to get the statistics right from the both of you. Do you have the number of students that you target for university funding and for help, and you're saying that if we manage this particular number, we will be okay? Or is there a limit towards this particular funding? Is there a limit that this money can only reach?
No. We are targeting all the students. Last KCSE 2022 class, the students who got C plus and above were 173,127. That is the number that is a group we are looking at to start with this funding model.
And so, is that the same group that HELB is working with?
I told you we are conjoined. We are doing
yes,
like common. And actually, even the way they are going to apply, we are working out together. With the UFB.
You're working together.
Yes.
Now, how are students identified and placed for this partial or full university funding? You will explain whether it's partial or full. How are they identified and placed for this funding that is being offered?
The Universities Act, Section 54, stipulates that the government shall be able to fund all students that are placed by KUPS. Therefore, all the students that are going to be placed by KUPS who get C plus and above are the ones that we are targeting. And the number that I've given is 173,127. KUPS will identify. The process has already started as we speak. Students are choosing the subjects based on the cluster, how they qualified. Once that process is finished, they'll be given a period to revise the courses based on the application process. And finally, we then shall be able to open the application process, and it is going to be joint. We are not going to have a separate application process whereby the students will apply for the scholarship and the loan moving forward.
So it's going to be co-joined?
Yeah, co-joined.
Yes. No separation?
No separation.
All right?
Yeah. Because we are funding the same student. Yeah. So why should we do separate? He should be able to see what I'm doing, and we should be able to see what he's doing.
So regardless of the course that a student picks,
yes,
the funding will still be there?
Yes.
Because I was looking at some of the requirements to identify whether someone gets this particular funding, whether it's partial or full, that some of the courses being selected affect the funding. Is it true that only the bottom-up courses are the ones that promote funding? Because that is a conversation that has been trending even online.
No, we are funding based on the level of need. I think we need to make that very clear.
It is not based on the subject selected.
No.
All right?
No, it's based on the level of need of a student. The subject you select will be based on the cost of the amount. That is the only separation. That some subjects will be some courses will be more expensive than others. But if you look overally, we are funding all of them based on the percentage of that course. So it means if you are undertaking a course that is more expensive, it means you will get more scholarship and more loan.
What about parents' income? Does that affect the...
Maybe I can comment.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, in Kenya, it is almost impossible to know parental income. And nobody will declare that income anywhere. Even KRA will not give you. What KRA might give you is an indicator of that income by maybe giving you the tax that they're paying. And even you ask Kenyans, the students, is your parent working? Most of them hide that. So what we use are other indicators that can tell us that you're a poor person. So we have what you're calling a mean testing instrument, which we have developed and tested for the last 20 years.
All right.
We are perfecting it this year further, sharpening it further by using third-party validation.
And you will tell us about that after this break.
Yes.
Let's take this break and then we'll be back as we talk about matters concerning universities funding. Let's dissect this particular conversation to help you understand what HELB is all about, what the universities is all about, and if there is money, where is the money? Do you have it? Have you received it? Talk to me. Let's take a short break. We'll be back in a bit. All right, thank you so much for sticking with us. We continue with this conversation. It's all about university funding today. I'm with Geoffrey Monari, CEO, University Fund, and Kingori Ndagwa, Lending Manager at the Higher Education Loans Board. My name is Ram Aguko, if you've just joined us. And we are proceeding with our conversation Before we took that break, King Ori, I was on you actually.
Yes.
And we were talking about the issue of parents' income and the criteria being used to select or identify this student and place them to get this particular funding or loan. You are mentioning something about that, and I want to pick it up from that particular area here. And let me know, if a parent earns a sum, for example, 50,000 shillings in a month.
Yes.
And they have one child.
Yes.
Another parent earns the same amount, 50,000 shillings, and they have like 5 kids. Do these students get equal opportunities to get this particular funding? Is there any particular selection or criterion for this?
Thank you. You see, we have what we call the means tested instrument. Now,
Yes.
this instrument, what it does, it looks at your ability or inability to pay. Now, if the school fees for the university is known, like let's say medicine is, to use your income of 50. So if you know that medicine is 700, and maybe after discounting it's coming maybe to around 543. So what will happen? This criteria will look at the ability of this household. The parent income is 50, and that's the available income. They look at what do you use on food and other variables. What do you use on land, travel, what, fuel. So all that is removed from that income. And if you see, if the income was 50, this guy will be getting a negative. So there is no way he can be able to pay for university funding. So we give him a full loan and scholarship.
All right.
So there are criteria which is already designed, tested, and working.
Geoffrey, on the same?
Yeah, as Joe has said, this model actually, even with that income, is able to ensure that students who are most needy do not have a heavy loan as they leave the university.
Exactly.
Unlike the current model where you are given more loan when you are needy, and when you exit the university, it means you'll have a higher loan than the person who was less needy. We have reversed that, and I think Kenyans should be celebrating, because you'll find that the children from the most vulnerable families will have a very easy time repaying whatever small loan they'll be given, unlike the current model where they are the ones who bear the highest responsibility upon graduation. Yes.
But I'm still wondering whether it will be equal for these two students who come from separate families earning similar income.
No, it can't be equal, because as Joe has said, you have got a family of 5. So we will look at the family background. If you are both earning 50,000 and you have got 5 children, for example, in the university, then that is a situation where we shall be able to prorate and see how much each, for example, is a child is prorated from the 50,000. That is just an example among other variables. So we don't want to say that that is the only indicator that we shall use. There are various other indicators. So somebody should not say that because we are 5, we divide that by 5 and we are all going to get this amount. There are other indicators that will be used together with the fact that the income is 50,000 and one has got 5 children and one has got 1 child.
Is there any biasness that Kenyans need to know that isn't there? You know, some Kenyans may feel that there is biasness. Yes, we both deserve this university funding, but because you come from a particular tribe, or you support a particular political party, or you voted for a particular person, then you may not be able to get this loan. Help me understand that particular aspect.
Ram, thank you very much.
Yes.
I think the only bias we have is that you are needy.
Yeah.
That is the only bias. The rest, no one knows how anyone voted. No one knows the means testing instrument.
But you've heard of such kind of conversations?
Those are things that we hear on social media, but those are things that we know do not matter in terms of application. When it comes to application, we do not ask for the tribe of the person. We do not. The only thing we ask for is the socio-economic status. So that will not be used. We don't know how anyone voted. It is first of all unconstitutional. to look at this process and give loans based on how somebody voted, because that is not what we do.
Those are not the
where
biases
they come from.
looking at, yes.
The only bias we have is vulnerability, how somebody is needy, so that we ensure the most needy are able to benefit maximum.
All right.
Yeah.
Still, I wonder, is the money there? Is the money there? There was a conversation from HELP that I had asked you earlier on about the students that missed their loans. Should we expect such to occur again if this model is to pick up? If this model is to succeed, should Kenyans be satisfied that it will never happen again, coming from where you sit?
Maybe I comment, but Jeff will do the further analysis. But never, we can't say never, but we know from what we are seeing in the short term that we have the government support, and we are also going to enhance our recoveries. We can see how our recoveries are going to move, and we can see the commitment. Even now, as we discuss, there's a lot of discussions between even ministries on how to make sure this thing takes off very well. So never, maybe many years from now, we cannot be able to predict maybe more than 10 years. But in the short term, 5 years, 10 years, we can see this thing solving the problem of funding for students. And people are talking about universities owing 60 billion. What about the students? The amount of pressure the students are going through accommodation. You find students whose rooms have been locked by landlords. Landlords confiscating mobile phones, and they know that the student is using the mobile phone to read, but they confiscate because they can't be able to pay. Students who are not feeding. So this model actually is designed to solve this problem. And we have looked at all possible assumptions, all possible issues, all possible risks surrounding the model, and I think we are good to go, and we are comfortable from where we sit, and we can assure Kenyans that this is the right way to go.
Are you still waiting as HELP for Parliament to release 5.7 billion shillings?
Yes, we are still waiting.
You're still waiting for that?
Yes.
Do you see it coming?
Well, government will do what? They will honor their commitment. But that's an issue we are monitoring as we come to the end of the financial year. I think June is 30th of June is a few weeks from now. We'll know when we get there.
You will know when you get there?
Yeah.
So there are chances that Kenyans may be worried by then?
Cannot really comment on that right now.
No, I think Ram, what we are looking at, this funding model was announced none other than by His Excellency the President.
Exactly.
You don't need any other commitment than
that is a commitment we need. His word.
That is a commitment, and we have his word. We have seen the commitment he has put in this funding model. He has had several meetings with us and many other stakeholders so that we can come up with this funding model. And with that commitment, it tells you that the support from the top is there. That is from the head of state, our minister, and the PS, and across government. And it is my belief, and we know that with that commitment, then the things are going to change in the university. This is the first time, and this is the only government that has looked at this issue critically since independence. The university crisis has been growing over a period of time, but nobody has really looked at this matter the way this government has looked at this issue.
So the truth is, yes, there was a problem, and now we are working on it. Because I'm looking at also HELP. Over the years, HELP has struggled to meet some of the, the rising demand for loans. The number of student number has increased, so that is still a big challenge.
Yeah, but we have not really except this year, and this was because of the economy. You see the
COVID-19
COVID shocks, and there were some budget cuts, and recoveries also went down. They were affected. So it's a situation that is not different from what is happening in the economy. But this year, of course, we were hit badly, and we'll see how to recover that as we go on. Because those students will still be funded going forward.
And remember, this problem, as he has said, did not start now. It is an accumulation of various issues from COVID. Remember, universities were open, people were earning salaries, but there were no students. hence the debts the universities have. The cuts that they received, there were various cuts because we all know at that period of time there was no tax, there was tax relief, there were many issues that were happening. So it is accumulation of various issues that have taken time for us to reach here. To get out of here is not also an event. It is not an event. It is also a process.
It's a process.
For us,
took time.
It will. Yes, we'll also have to take time to come out of it here. That's why I'm saying it is not an event that this year we are going to just come out of it. It is a process, and with the commitment we have, we are going to come out of here. That I can assure you. Yes.
Now, still, I want us to give further feedback in regards to this, because in one of our dailies here that I mentioned earlier on, we have unions that are opposing this new funding model. Now, speaking in Mombasa, the Kenya University Staff Union, that is KUSU, University Academic Staff Union, and Kenya Union of Domestic Hotels, Education Institutions, Hospital, and Allied Workers said that this model, and you'll help me understand this, they said that this model is a recipe for low enrollment, high dropout rates, deplorable living conditions of students due to non-funding of their upkeep. Is this true? Is this a concern? And how can we solve this? Kingori.
Just like my colleague here has said,
yes,
the government is placing all students who have qualified. There's even nobody going to Module 2 because all of them have been given government spaces and scholarship. So I don't see how the deplorable conditions is coming in and then low enrollment. Because you see, if there's 100% transition for anybody who got a C plus and above. And everybody has been assured of, in fact, the scholarship is like a must. You must, so long as you apply, you must get.
But remember, it's not 100%. There's some money that Kenyans needs.
Yeah, but for the vulnerable, the two groups which comprise almost 30% of the students, and this is one we are getting from our data, going backwards 10 years back.
Yes.
The people who don't have incomes, people with maybe incomes below 1,000, 10,000 per year. So we have modeled all that to get to that position. So if the less needy have been told to contribute 7% from their pocket, and the 7% is maybe in an year is a maximum. I think the maximum of 38,000 thereabout. Okay. If you look at the most expensive program, and this is spread. You don't pay fees at once. You pay in semesters, like 2 semesters, 3 semesters. We see it fits very well with the cash flows for our society. Look at people like me and you. In fact, I don't think some of us require this support, but assuming people who are working are able to apply for this, the amount of money that they are contributing is so little. Now, the issues of upkeep for students, these are assured.
Yes.
The higher students is getting 44. And remember, when they get this money, the 44,000, they don't do anything else with it, like paying for some other costs at the universities, paying for internet. No. All those costs have been taken care of by the scholarship and the loan.
Universities Union yesterday said that the funding formula would strain many parents and turn universities into clubs for the privileged students. Is that true?
No.
Sorry. It will be a club for the poor. I
think that is what we are going to say. It is the opposite, because we have guaranteed students who are the most needed to walk into the university without paying anything. Unlike the current status where you give them a loan, they still have to remove some money from the loan they are given to chip in into their university education. This has, I think what we need to do with the unions, we will, as Joe said, we need to sit with them and sensitize them more. We had a session, when we had a session with vice chancellors, the union was there. Some of their members were there and they listened. We need further discussions with them so that...
Did they agree with you?
Yes. During that discussion, they asked questions and they were answered. And we left, everyone who left that session was agreeable that this is a better model. And that was a discussion that we have held with them, and we continue, because as these issues evolve, we are not saying that it is an end to the discussions we had. We are saying that let us have further discussions with the union so that we explain and show them that this is a better model from where we stand. And for them, it would be good for them to support, because there will be more money put into the universities, and from there they can be able to even have universities do much better than what they are doing right now. So the issue of enrollment, as Joe has said, we are saying all the students will be enrolled. So where does that come out? And how does it happen that there will be dropouts? Because all the students will be enrolled. When it comes to the most needy, all of them will go into the university without paying anything, so there will be no dropout. The ones that we are asking for the households to support, these are students who, if you look at their history before this, they were able to even pay for their primary education, secondary education. And if there is a case where the household income has changed, maybe the parents are not there anymore, or the parents have lost their income, there is an appeal process to the application of the scholarship and loan, and the students will be reconsidered and given what they deserve.
All right.
Yes.
So there is no preference as to one particular student applying is going to be more privileged than the other. It's equal for everybody.
The privilege, and we must insist, the privilege is for the needy students. Yes. The people who deserve, and the vulnerable.
Yes. King Ori, let me come to you in regards to what's happening in HELB. Help me understand this. Many are complaining that they are trying to apply, but they don't get any responses. Is that true? Some have even gone to social media to send out tweets.
We normally follow the placement of students. So COOPS is on the people applying. They will apply for the next 3 weeks. Yeah. And then Elevation maybe another 1 week or 2 weeks. So we are going to open with them. Right now, and also, of course, we have to wait for the new budget to be released. That's when we are going to open. So if anybody is trying to go to the portal at this moment, we are closed. There are some products which are open, but those are partnership products. We manage loans for other companies like Johnson & Johnson. We have a new USAID product. We have county products. Counties are, even constituencies, even corporates like Kenya Maritime Authority, we have their money. So those ones are ongoing. And so if you go in and you're not mapped to those products, you cannot go through. I think what is making people think we are open, there is a product we have for the National Council for the people living with disability. It's for everybody, TVET and a graduate, and it's open. But you cannot access unless you have that card number. There's a number they are given when they're registered. And we have an API. When they come to our portal, put the number, the card is searched in the database for NCPW. If it's not there, you can't go through. So I think there's that confusion.
But then we can't have some mode of communication whereby they can know that this application is closed within this period and this application is opened, because they are saying that they applied and they are not getting any feedback.
Maybe it is the platforms they are using, because if you go to our social media handles, we have a matrix of all our product and which is open and which is not open. If you go to our portal, our website, the same thing. And maybe for the public, for students, those ones we communicate with them on a daily basis. We have WhatsApp groups with all universities and student leaders. So we communicate and we give a lot of information. However, maybe a few people could have missed out the information. We're going to enhance the communication on this, especially now that it's coming out.
And of course, we encourage all of you, every Kenyan, to go to their website.
Yes.
Check out what is there. Get to know all the information that you need before you raise a complaint, because you may actually be doing something at the wrong time.
The website has got FAQs, frequently asked questions. Currently, we have not opened for this year, for the scholarship of the loan. So when that process happens, we will make a big announcement and everyone will be able to know. The process that is currently ongoing is selection of programs.
Or programs.
Yes, in the universities. and students. The students are the ones selecting the program.
Yes.
That is what is currently happening. After we finish that process, then we shall move to the next process of application for scholarships and loans. So we urge the Kenyans to be patient. Once the application process for the programs is complete, the admission letters will be loaded on the individual universities. Then you will be able to print out and you'll get further information on how to proceed. Yes.
Yeah, but let's be also, I've seen the last 2 months a lot of fake news that COOPS is open. Even before COOPS was opened, I could see them struggling. HELB is open and it has everything, even logos, everything. So let people be aware of those fake news, but we are going to communicate officially once we open.
And of course, let's also highlight that particular conversation that you've said there. Yes. Social media has a lot, and if we are not careful, Kenyans may be misled. What are some of those things that you've managed to come across that we need to highlight on this particular show here that we believe Kenyans need to know? Let me start with you still, Kenyan King.
Yeah, we have what we call FAQs, and we have posted in all our handles. So you just go and you check. You'll be able to see what is happening and what is trending at any particular time in our portals.
Yes.
So I think it is information, and the Bible says trust and obey, but I don't trust social media. The policy should be trust but verify. Verify with us.
But for this is the word of God. Trust and obey the word of God.
Yeah. But for government issues, verify.
For government issues,
trust but verify.
Yeah.
Especially social media. Very tricky. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think what I would want to say about social media, we have seen various individuals, social media handles, where students are being advised on how to fill the form, on what information to give. This is very unfortunate because it is going to mislead Kenyans who actually will end up not filling the form properly but relying on individuals who have given them a way forward. So it is our request that if you are filling your form, please go to Huduma centers where you can be able to get the correct information. Use Huduma Center facilities where they are free. If you need any clarification, please contact Higher Education Loans Board, COOPS, or the Universities Fund to get the proper information. Huduma centers are the most preferred where you are because it's free and the facilities, the people there have been trained. For the other cyber cafes, we also have realized that there's students who go and give personal information, even up to allowing individuals who they don't know to open for them accounts, fill for them for the forms. And this later, you find a student saying, I'm not the one who filled this form this way.
Wow.
And that is a danger because you find somebody has filled the form and the student is not aware what was filled in that form. So we urge everyone to be able to get correct information from the institutions that are available and not rely on social media or individuals who are not employees of these three institutions.
Yeah. Sometimes how do these people get your info? You wonder, how do they get all the information they need?
Especially for the students, they are sharing everything like Jeff has said. Actually, they fill up a printed form, including the account number, emails, everything. They give the cyber.
For this case, somebody did not apply. They did not apply. But
no, the guy, the cyber guy uses this information and types. He prints the form. He makes sure it is stamped, fake stamps, and delivered to the nearest Huduma center. And they are charging a lot of money. And let me also tell Kenya that these services are free. Don't pay anything. If we realize that you are trying to do that, we will buy you. Totally, and there will be no discussion.
Application
all the way from placement to funding. If you try to tamper with that process, you will face the full force of the law. People, there are a lot of people taking advantage of Kenyans, asking for money. Especially when they go to the portal, they find it's not open. They say, "Oh, I can help you. Send me this." Yeah.
The process of application for the scholarship and loan is free.
And every Kenyan needs to understand that.
Yes.
Do not pay any amount of money to apply for these loans.
Yes, and scholarship.
And scholarship.
Yes.
I want us to take a short break, and then when we will be back, this is about the conversation to establish a merger of public universities. We need to talk about that. Should public universities merge? And of course, even as we talk about that, we have the National Skill and Funding Council that amalgamates HELB, TVET, and University Funding Board together with CUSPs. Should they be merged? That is a conversation that we're about to have after this break. Keep it KBC Channel 1. Keep it Good Morning Kenya. Let's take that break. We'll be back in a bit. All right, welcome back. This is still Good Morning Kenya. Universities funding is a conversation of the day. Now, we proceed with this conversation. Now, let me quote or highlight what the UASU Coast Chapter Secretary Josiah Odalo said in regards to this particular funding issue. Odalo said that there is a need for productive public participation involving university students, employees, and management to be constituted. And this one goes to you, Jeff. When you talk about public participation, that has been an issue that has been there. I don't know if you've had that particular conversation being raised as a concern. Tell me, is it something that we need to consider? Did it take place, or will it take place if it hasn't?
Public participation is ongoing. This is part of the process. We have had a session with the students, had a conference where the student leaders were called and they have given their views. We have had sessions, as I said, with vice chancellors, not one session, several sessions.
But then why is this, why is Josiah talking about that? If student leaders have been involved?
Yes, and that's why I'm saying that we need to continuously engage in this process because clearly there is still a need to ensure that we meet all the stakeholders. I'm saying it is a process that is ongoing. It's a
process, all right.
And we have already held discussions with various stakeholders, and we shall continue. We have not stopped. We will continue engaging and explaining where we are coming from and where we are going to, so that we are all on the same page. And where we find that there are good suggestions that we can be able to implement in the process, I can assure you that we are open to that discussion and will be able to engage in that. Yes. And
let me come to you, Kingori, in regards to public participation. How does HELP come in this particular conversation? Do you have it?
Yes, like just less than a month ago, we called all student leaders, not one, every university was bringing two, a dean, a finance officer, a student finance officer, and registrars. And the idea is that we give them this model to understand it, and they supported. Actually, they found that when they realized that they are going to get an addition of 20.3 billion, they were okay with the model. They said that it happened today. And this is information which is verifiable. We have the registers, they signed all those. So,
all right.
And there's and we haven't stopped. So we are still going further. And remember, before that happened, I think there was the one when the vice chancellors came at Kenya's
we have actually had 3 sessions with vice chancellors. Kenya School of Government. We had a meeting in Mombasa. We had another one back at Kenya School of Government, and the final one with the discussions with the president himself. Those are 4 meetings with vice chancellor.
Yes. And last week we also called the media to Naivasha for all media houses came for a briefing, and we just talked about the model. Nothing more was discussed there.
And I'm looking at the conversations that came after all these meetings. Yet still we say we need to have more.
Yes, we
need
totally
to talk about this more.
Yes. This process is not an event. I keep on insisting. We are in a journey, and this journey we are requesting that Kenyans and people of goodwill to be able to internalize and look at this as a journey, and we can be able to move together. Where there are issues, let us be able to discuss and explain further. And where we find the improvements that are required, we shall be able to embrace those that are adding value to this model.
Now, there's a question by David, and he is asking, is the university funding the same as HELB? All right, maybe we can
no, we have
do they have the same I think maybe he's referring to maybe the same
the institutions. No, the institution is not the same, because the universities fund was created to ensure sustainability of universities. And this is when we were funding universities. We are now funding, the new model is student-centered. And to ensure that, we have moved from funding the universities to funding the student based on the scholarships. And that is where we are working together to ensure that even the application process is the same, so that the student gets this process easy and they are able to be assisted in a much better way.
What about the principles of this money? For HELB, you have to pay it back.
Yes.
For universities funding, does it have
a scholarship? You don't pay a scholarship back. Yes.
All right. So I believe you've been answered. Now, let me come to you, King Ori, in regards to this particular issue. Defaulters. My oh my, you're really struggling with that. I don't know how things are currently.
But comparatively, we may not be doing so badly, because we have a performing loan portfolio over 75%. And we are moving towards, the target is to move towards 80. If you look at other bodies, even in South Africa, they have 30%. 70%.
So we are doing well as a country.
But maybe because of the way the economy is happening, we may not be moving very fast towards the 90-something%, because that's where we want to be like the banks. So because of the economy, unemployment, and job losses, that's being it is impacting on the recovery effort by the board.
So you're saying it's relative. I wonder, are Kenyans paying?
Yeah, they are paying.
HELB?
Oh, they are paying, and paying aggressively. We are getting this year, we're almost 5 billion, and the target is 5.2. So by the end of June, we will have hit our target.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Even with the economy, we are still focused. And Kenyans are very patriotic. They want to pay. Very patriotic, and they are very happy when they are paying.
We have seen many Kenyans benefit from HELB.
Yes.
Including our own members of parliament.
Yes.
Coming out to say, you know what, this thing helped us back in the day. Well, if you haven't paid your HELB loan, kindly do so.
And actually, maybe a parting shot on that, the guys who have left, the ones who have graduated, like you and me, are the ones who are supposed to pay for the ones who are coming. So that is the emotional connection now we are trying to create. And that's why I think the efforts are being supported by Kenyans. Yeah.
And of course, finally, to quote Odalo, he said, and I quote, that it is our take that the so-called student funding model is a clear way of reintroducing the unsuccessful merger of public universities through a forced collapse of higher institutions of learning. The model should be put to hold. End of quote. Quoting Odalo. That touches on you, Geoffrey. What do you think about that?
The discussion on margin has never been discussed in all this discussion that we are having. The student-centered model will be based on the student, and just to make him more comfortable, remember all universities declare their available positions before KUPS opens the portal. So it means that there is no university that will be allocated more than the capacity that they have, because CUE, the Commission for University Education, has already gone and checked and has seen the capacity of each university. Therefore, all the students will be able to be placed in all the universities across the country. There is no one university that will be able to have a number of students more than other universities based on their capacity. Yes, so it is not a conversation that has been there. I have not had it. This is the first time that I've had that discussion, and let him be rest assured that that is not the focus of this model.
All right.
Yes.
Of course, finally, to you, King Ori, any message to Kenyans watching us today in regards to this particular conversation as a parting shot? Yes,
this is a new stage, and changes are usually not very comfortable. They say only a baby in wet diapers likes change. So let's support this model. It's going to be good for us. And I think in the next 1 year, they will be here. Let them check and see what happened in the year. They will thank us later for introducing this model.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You have interesting proverbs. I love them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Geoffrey, still on you, parting shot, final message to Kenyans watching us today in regards to this particular conversation.
For me, I think these discussions are good. We need to continuously discuss where we have issues. I encourage everyone to come out and get in touch with us in these 3 institutions for any clarification so that we can walk this journey together. We are committed, and I can assure you the President, the CS and the PS are committed to ensure that the universities and the university education is taken back to where it was. We are creating students for the global market, not for only Kenyans. And that is where we must ensure the quality is maintained and is enhanced moving forward.
Thank you so much.
And with the new model, I can assure you that that is where we are headed to.
Wonderful. Still, when we were talking, at some point, it crossed my mind that a particular student will get a scholarship or help. They will get their loan, they will graduate, only for them to land in the job market and be told, you don't have the skills. After all that struggle, they have to go through refresher courses and they have to be retrained and they have to go through another period of training.
Yeah, and hence we ensure quality. By giving quality, then that process will not happen. And we'll allow Kenyans. You've seen the German Chancellor was here and saying that there are 250,000 jobs in Germany. But if we don't have the skills...
If we don't have the skills, how will you get them?
How will we get them?
Anyway, thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. I appreciate your presence, and of course that is in regards to this particular conversation. It's on that note that we bring this to a close. I was with Geoffrey Monari, the CEO of Universities Fund, and to my far right, Kingori Ndegwa, Lending Manager at the Higher Education Loans Board, also known as HELB. My name is Ram Maguko. It has been a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for engaging with us. The hashtag, as always, is still Good Morning Kenya at Ram Maguko and at KBC Channel 1. We are taking a short break, and we will still have a lot coming up your way. Doreen Aranga is still coming up with the next conversation of the day that you do not want to miss. From my end, is thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye. May God bless you. May God bless the work of your hands. Good Morning Kenya takes a short break. We'll be back in a bit.